Welcome to the webinar on understanding the home buying process. Today, you're going to learn a lot about the home buying process, and if you want to strategically plan for home ownership success, then you're in the right place. And with that, I'm going to introduce the main presenter today, Mr. Tommy Mcknuckles. He's a realtor with Keller, a good friend of mine, good guy, tons of experience, especially around remodeling, which is very important to know. The second presenter that you're going to hear from today is Reuben Saltzman. Reuben is also another good friend of mine, and he's also the owner of Structure Tech, which is the largest home inspection company in Minnesota, and also one of the highest rated. So these two guys are all stars. So you guys are in the right place. It's not by accident that you're here. You came here to gain knowledge, and knowledge is going to help you make better decisions in life, which is going to help you determine your destination. All right, with that, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Tommy Mcknuckles.
Let me introduce myself again to you. I'm Tommy Mcknuckles with Keller Williams. I'm bringing today two passions that I have. One with helping people, two with building and remodeling homes. I think both of them go hand in hand. They work very well together. I love it. And like I said, it's two passions that I'm trying to bring together and hopefully convey this to you, and you can then make some decisions about some things in the future. I have a mission statement that I believe in, and parts of that is communication. I just think that's so key to your process in the home buying process, is being able to communicate not only with your realtor, but other vendors that you will connect with through that process. Also, I believe that in this process, I believe walking with a person is the key to helping you get through this process and doing very well. And also just allowing you to develop your thoughts and dreams about what you want as a home buyer in this process. Then we'll talk about a couple of things. We'll talk about facts and fears about buying, realities of the market, because there are some realities to this market today. 6 simple steps to a home buying process, though I think that's a little understated. The buying process will have its ebbs and flows to it, but if you follow the principles, you will get through there. And we'll touch on some financing and then some next steps in your process. Facts and fears, as I stated, a lot of people will start off wondering, can they afford a home? The first thing you need to know is, what do you have as far as savings? Do you have a budget already? Do you know where you would kind of fall into place in this home buying process? Is there a good time to buy in the market? Home buying process, and if you're buying in the market, it really depends on your motivation. Some people would like to wait to see if it's a better time. I would tell you right now, just based on the interest rate, it's a good time. I do feel the market tends a little to trend more toward the sellers, but with the interest rate being so low, you still can take advantage of just very low interest rate, which will then kind of calculate into what your final payments would be. Can I find a home of my dream? I've been in this process. I bought my first home about 20 years ago. I just recently purchased another home. So what I say is my dream home, I say it's a good home. It's one of the best homes I've owned thus far in my process. Every home has things you like and don't like about it. So dream home may not be your first home. It could be a building process that you will go through. Can I afford to buy a home with bad credit? That's one of the typical things that folks would want to find out when you first start this process. You do definitely want to know where your credit score is, because credit is basically going to be a determining factor on if you're going to qualify for any money or larger sums of money. Also, buying a home can be complicated. It will be complicated because there's different things you got to go through when you're going through your process. But a good realtor will help you get through that process. So they'll help you get through some of the worries and the fears about what's going on. That's typically what you'll get with a good realtor, and such as myself. I'm going to help you walk through this whole process, because I think when you're going through this, you need someone who knows the business, knows something that's going on, to help you walk through it. Those are the things that are going to get you through this here and make you feel, or at least you feel somewhat competent about your process. Right here, we'll talk about why buy now. And as I stated, the interest rates are incredibly low. I have 4% here on the screen, but some people would say you can go lower than that, and you can. It depends on the lender. The lender is going to determine, well, I shouldn't say the lender. Let me back up one second. Through your lender, they'll give you options of what is a time frame and when you lock your home in on the interest rate. But a lot of people are now locking in at like 2.5% for 30 years. And that's unheard of when you think about interest rates and for home buying and the home buying process. There's a long-term investment in the buying process. You build up equity. I've done that a number of times in my own home buying process. I started with one home, did some things to it, remodeled it, built some equity. It appreciated over time. I ended up paying down my home. Those are very key things. Those are key things to building and expanding. And we're looking at what Andrew was talking about, expanding your wallet. These are the type of things that will expand your wallet by purchasing a home, because that's probably one of your best investments that you'll probably connect with in your investing process. Pride of home ownership, it's stability in it. It's a sense of community. If you have a family, you can grow your kids up in the community. You have the freedom to customize it any way you want to. There's tax benefits. You can build wealth from it. It just goes on and on of what you can do with the home buying process and buying your first home. Owning versus renting. Um, this is kind of a no-brainer, but if you don't understand it, here's my take on it. As you look on the left hand, on my left hand side of the screen, if you buy a house and you pay it for over 30 years, you own the asset. If you rent for 30 years for someone, you don't own it. You basically have been paying someone else money to live in their property and pay their property and put more money in their pocket. And it sounds kind of, harsh, but that's the reality of it. It's the truth. That's part of the home buying process, just knowing which option is best for you. Sometimes renting could be better just based on timing, but if you're looking at just getting in the market, getting something moving forward, building, I think you go with the owning aspect of the home buying process. Those 6 steps I talked about: hire an agent, secure approved financing, find your home, making an offer and negotiating, getting a home inspection and negotiate repairs, then close and be a homeowner. Sounds simple, but at the same time, there's a process to that and there's timing to that. And as we go through the rest of the presentation, I'll kind of point some of those things out with the timing process. But a good realtor will help you understand these things and connect you to each phase of this process, so you kind of have an understanding of what steps are coming next. So there's no real fears to a lot of things based on the expertise of the realtor. So again, step one, hire an agent. What does that mean? Well, if you were hiring me, if you were hiring someone, they're to educate you about this process. They're going to analyze your wants and needs. And that's key, because when you're buying a house, it's really about you. It's not about me, or shouldn't be about another realtor. They shouldn't steer you to homes that don't fit your criteria. You're asking them to find you something that you feel will be very beneficial to you. And that's what a good realtor should do, is then identify you as the person, you as the couple, to get you what you want. Also in that process, we're here to help coordinate with other professionals for you. It's not your job to now communicate to a number of different people in the process. We're going to do all that. We're going to go through and we're going to talk to everybody we need to talk to for you to get you what you want. negotiate on your behalf. I'm real big on negotiating. I feel that there's several points in a home buying process where negotiating is key. And if you have an experienced realtor, they're going to be able to negotiate for you. And I'll give you a quick example. One is going to be for the price of your home. Two is going to be if you're getting an inspection and you see some things in there that don't look right, don't feel right, that may be another thing. Another point in the negotiation could be appraisal. If your house appraised for the money that we're saying it's supposed to pay or don't, then that could be another negotiating piece. So it's always some level of negotiation going on throughout the whole buying process. It's never just sign on the dotted line and the deal is done. It's really all the way through. I only look at it as a deal really isn't a full deal until you at closing and you get ready to close it. That's when you know the deal, because so many things could go wrong in the process. And solving all the problems that come in between, because there's a number of things that can go wrong. It could be title stuff, it could be other paperwork you're missing, it could be paperwork the sellers could be missing. Just to tie all those ends up, just constantly on the phone talking with people, getting the process done. Buyer's representation agreement, that's really you coming into an agreement with me to say, you're exclusively working with me. I'm going to be your realtor. I'm going to help you through this home buying process. And when we go into this buyer's representation agreement, what typically what I would do is give you business cards. So if you're out looking at other homes and everything, it's fine. You can always let another realtor know, hey, I'm working with Tom Mcknuckles, or hey, I'm working with this person or that person. Hopefully it's me. But if you're out working with people, you just give them the card. And then other realtors know it. It's kind of some laws within our real estate community that we understand. We don't step on other people's toes. At least we don't try to anyway. We do always ask if you're being represented by somebody. That's why it's always good to be in a representation contract in this process. That means you're exclusively to me and exclusively to what I would do for you. Two, securing pre-approval financing. Now, this is really key because some people think pre-qualifications is pre-approval, which is not. A pre-qualification is typically something that's going to be more, it's stated like, hey, this is what I do, this is how much I make, and somebody may tell you roughly, yeah, well, you probably will qualify for this much. What you would really want to do is go through the full formal process and get pre-approved, because technically I can't even make an offer on a home if we don't have a pre-approval letter. You have to have a pre-approval letter from a lender saying you fit the qualifications for this home. When I say qualification, financial qualification, meaning if it's $250,000, you can get a $250,000 loan for a home. And honestly, in this market today, you can't even submit an offer without a pre-approval letter. It just wouldn't work. They wouldn't take you serious, nor would they waste their time. A seller would not even entertain the offer if you didn't have a pre-approval letter. Choosing a lender. Typically what I tell people is, this is your time to shop yourself around. When you first do your pre-approval application, they will run your credit, but this allows you for up to 30 days to now submit your paperwork to several different lenders, but you won't get banged or hit. I shouldn't say banged, dinged on your credit again, because it's considered the same service. So you would be able to now be able to shop yourself around for 30 days, and you can shop up to so many lenders. And the reason you want to shop, because you want to know what your closing costs are going to be, because lenders are going to charge you closing costs and stuff like that. So you want to know what their fees are. Some lenders have different fees. Some lenders are a little more lenient on fees to offer you more things. And you definitely want to know where you are with your fees and stuff like that. So this is why choosing your lender and during this process is very important. Create a budget. So you're finding out what you can finance, and you're trying to identify your expenses. What are you kind of paying out currently? What do you have for extra cash just laying around? And then here's one of the key things, Andrew and I talked about this before in the past, is that just because someone offers you X amount of money, don't mean you need to take it all. I mean, you got to be smart about this. This is really where you need to be smart about your money. If someone said, "Oh yeah, you can get $400,000," yeah, it looks good until you have to pay for it, until you have to now do the things you need to do to manage this here along the way. I would just encourage you now to, figure your budget out, be smart about what it is you're trying to do, and not to overextend yourself, if you will, because just because someone offers you something, don't mean you have to take it all. That would just be my words of wisdom of that one. Understanding mortgages, down payment, interest payment, terms, how long. This is another area where people look at, well, I can afford this much, and what you'll typically get is you'll get what the monthly payment will be, but you're not getting the interest, the insurance, and all these other things, because these are add-on costs. So this is why you have to understand your budget during this process when you're looking at these things, so you kind of understand what it is that you need to personally know you can afford, that's not going to then leave your cupboards bare or leave you in a place where you cannot manage your home. You definitely want to be able to pay your bills and do the things you need to do. And as I was saying, that's right here: principal, interest, tax, insurance. Principal is going to be your first. So you can get a mortgage, and your mortgage is $900, but you got to look at what your interest rate going to be. You tack on money from there. Then your taxes. Another thing you want to do is definitely look in what area of town you're trying to go to, because typically different areas of town, you'll pay higher taxes. Hennepin County taxes, well, I shouldn't say Hennepin County. Minneapolis taxes would be different than a Brooklyn Park taxes. Brooklyn Park taxes would be different from a Maple Grove taxes. So kind of understanding the area that you're going to live in, you want to know how much you're going to pay for insurance and how much insurance will be tacked on to this whole payment process that you'll end up paying at the end of all your paperwork. Down payment. Now, this is interesting depending on you as a first time buyer. There's a number of different programs out there. But this is where you're going to find out what your down payment, and that's going to be based on what type of loan you get. If it's a FHA, if it's a conventional, and typically FHA is going to be like 3.5% that you have to pay down over the total loan. And then conventional could be a little higher. I've seen conventional go as low as 5%. It depends on what programming you're going into at the time. How are you going to come up with the funds? I mean, typically you've been saving through work, side jobs, savings, or you can get a gift from a parent. But that has to be identified in your process. It just can't come out of the blue because they want to know where it's coming from. Maintaining pre-approval status. So when you're going into this process and you've gotten approved for a loan, you can't change your picture. You can't go out and buy new cars. You can't go open new credit cards, all those things, because that's going to change what the financial outlook looks like you for owning a property at that time. They're going to look at that. They're going to look at it when they first approve you, and they'll look at you right before you close to see if you've done any of these different things, because this could alter and possibly interrupt your purchasing process if you go out and do these things. So you definitely want to be mindful of this. You don't want to go and buy anything new at this point in time. Find your home. This is where you'll start defining what it is you're looking for, learn about the market. A lot of these things, if you're working with me, I'm going to be giving you these things up front, telling you about a number of things, refining the search. Sometimes when we start looking for homes, it looks simple, but then some of the things you want and space and size may not fit the budget. And then if you have to adjust the budget to what it is you're looking for, you have to then look to see if that all the things you want on your checklist are really fitting into this search. So that's why refining the search will be interesting as you go through this process, because you may not get everything in the home buying process that you're looking for. 5 bedrooms, 4 bathroom. Is that going to fit within what your loan requirements will get you? So definitely kind of having some flexibility in this area will be helpful in your home buying process. One of the things I would offer is a Keller Williams app to help you now look for properties. Once you've identified what your loan amount is, what this Keller Williams app will do will help you search neighborhoods. It'll give you real-time information. You can set a dollar amount on it. It'll go through, it'll find all the houses. It'll find houses through your criteria. These things are very helpful, and it saves time. It'll save time because it gets you closer to what it is you're truly looking for versus just kind of randomly looking and things not falling in place. So during this point in time, things you will be looking for is your layout, your space, your location, the features you want. I'm going to be looking to see if what you want kind of fit what the market is saying the price of this home should be. Looking at what your potential resale could be. I would be looking at, is your roof good? Is your HVAC good? Is your furnace good? All of these type of things, because these could be potential costs down the line. And this could be some more negotiating features that we can go through if some of these things don't either work or work properly, or it needs to be replaced within a short period of time. Now, there's 3 different type of homes or home processes you can buy. One is going to be a single family, which the single family is just what it is a single family home. The other is going to be condos and townhomes. And some of the pros and cons against condos and townhomes, is lower cost, low maintenance, amenities such as swimming pools, things like that, community setting. But the cons, you have to say, if you want to move into this type of setting, it's going to be shared ownership. You can have HOA fees, managed board. People within the board will kind of determine different things like noise, vehicles, fencing, different things within that setting. New construction is another. This has kind of been my little go-to over the last 10 plus years. New construction, I love it. When we first went to new construction, it was really based on trying to buy something at a current dollar amount. We then kind of looked at new construction and just said, well, we can't go this way because it's almost the same. It was somewhat comparable just to have something new versus an existing build, a single family home. And a lot of the things within there, it's new, it has warranties. You get to pick your lot, you lock in a price. You're probably not going to go into a lot of fighting and stuff into new construction because there's only so many, and you'll kind of get the one that's either there, that's left. And good deals. I mean, I don't know if it's really good deals in it, but it becomes a good price for a new home. The cons to it is the features. There's a lot of markup in there. So if you want to upgrade different things, that's going to be a cost. I think that's the biggest thing to it. You don't have a firm closing date because it takes about 5 to 6 months for a new build. And so if you're coming in non-contingent, so which is good. Either you stay in your apartment until you transition over, stay with your parents until you transition over. This will kind of be that scenario with that. Making an offer, negotiating your offer. At this point, we really start talking price. We look at the comps, see what the comps are saying about the price for the house that you're looking at. Then you can look at what your terms are going to be. How long do you want to mortgage this here? And then look at your contingencies. This is another key thing in this buying process is a contingency. When you're coming in right now, if you're a new homeowner, you probably don't have a home. So then you would be non-contingent on selling a home. So which would make you look somewhat more attractive because you don't have something to sell than to buy this particular home. But in this, you definitely want to have contingencies around inspections and appraisals. Inspections being that everything checks out, or it checks out to the point that you're okay to live with the things that you have to do, and then that the appraisal comes back to appraise for the value of the home. Step 5, right here, what we're going into is inspection. I'm going to turn this over to Reuben. Reuben, will you now take over?
I'm Reuben Saltzman. My company is Structure Tech Home Inspections, and that's what I'm going to cover today. We'll talk about the home inspection part of this. Quick definition: a home inspection is an objective visual examination of the home. By objective, I mean that we don't work for anybody other than you, the home buyer. We don't work for the mortgage lender. We don't work for banks, realtors, sellers. We work for the home buyer exclusively. We are an unbiased third party. And for visual examination, it's kind of an old school definition of a home inspection. That's the minimum standard. Most home inspectors are going to do a lot more than just a visual inspection. A lot of home inspectors like to meet the clients there. They'll walk roofs. Home inspection standards don't require home inspectors to walk roofs. For some home inspectors, if they're not comfortable doing that, they might use a drone to inspect the roof. A lot of home inspectors are going to use different tools throughout the inside of the house. They may pop their head in the attic. They may actually walk through the entire attic too. And well, that's it in a nutshell. This is a quick little video showing you a 30-second version of an entire 4-hour home inspection. So there it is, start to finish. That is the home inspection. Oh, we're replaying again. The home inspection takes place after you have made an offer on a home and it has been accepted by the seller and you've agreed on the terms. Like Tommy said, you would make an offer that's contingent upon the home inspection. Typically you get about, well, it's whatever you write in your offer. I think the number that's most commonly used today is 10 days. Tommy could talk to you more about this, but I know we've got a really hot market today. So sometimes those offers might be a little bit shorter. But the goal there is once you have an offer accepted, you get on the horn with a home inspector immediately. You say, hey, I got an offer accepted today. When can you get out there to inspect the house? After the home inspection takes place, sometimes there are negotiations that take place. Now, there's no hard and fast rules for how these negotiations need to happen. This is always something that you need to talk to your real estate agent about, because there is no licensing for home inspections here in Minnesota. There's no rules. Anybody can do anything they want and call it a home inspection. It's also part of the reason you got to look for good recommendations from your agent on who the home inspector is going to be. But what it all comes down to is it is the real estate agent's realm to help with negotiations after the inspection. A lot of people like to use the home inspection report as a club that they're supposed to beat the seller over the head with on price. And that's not the purpose of the home inspection. The purpose is to educate you about the house and know what you're getting. But sometimes, like Tommy said, there are some unexpected things that come up, some surprises that you didn't know about. And sometimes there are negotiations that take place. There's a lot of additional inspections that frequently take place, especially here in the Twin Cities. A lot of additional services. These are things that are not covered by a standard home inspection, but a lot of people end up getting them done anyway. One is radon. This is testing for radon gas. It's a gas that's found in most basements in Minnesota. It causes lung cancer, and a little over half of our clients choose to have radon testing done. If you buy a home in Minnesota, you're going to have to sign a 2-page document saying that you understand what radon is and the risks of it. And that's something that the Minnesota Department of Health kind of pushed through to make sure everybody buying a house in Minnesota is aware of. Another big one is a sewer inspection. The home inspector does not inspect the sewer line that goes out to the street, and that is the buyer's responsibility. If there's a problem with that sewer line, you can often be looking at a high 4 figures, even a low 5 figures repair. So it's really important to get the knowledge of that sewer when you're buying the house. And then Same thing goes with chimney. If you're buying a home that has a wood burning fireplace and a masonry chimney, and you're planning on having fires in your home, it's a good idea to hire somebody to do a specialized chimney inspection. This guy's taking basically a GoPro on the end of a stick, and he's inspecting the entire chimney. It's a little fancier than that, but that's the best way to understand it. And then finally, if you're buying a newer stucco home, a lot of those houses have had problems in the last, and when I say newer, I'm thinking about the last 30 years or so. A lot of those houses have been problematic, and most people buying that age of a home with stucco wall covering have a specialized stucco inspection done to make sure that the walls are still in good shape behind the stucco. So those are some of the additional services that people might offer or opt for, and that wraps up my section on home inspections. Again, my company is Structure Tech. If you want more information on anything related to home inspections, we've got about 10 million pages on our website with more info. Feel free to look us up and visit us. We're a good resource for that. I'll turn it back over to you, Tommy. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Reuben. So I'll just add one last thing, and I'll piggyback off what Reuben said. It's not home inspections isn't the place where you start renegotiating the price of the home. It's really a place where you just negotiating warranties on existing things, and a home warranty would be something for like major things as roofs, furnace, air conditioner, things of that nature. But it's not a place to now start to negotiate the price of a home. So just wanted to make that clear again. Thank you, Reuben. Okay, now step 6, we're going into the closing process and you becoming a homeowner at this point in time. Again, you definitely want to keep yourself credit worthy, mortgage worthy. Don't go out doing all these different things because they do another snapshot of your financial picture. You definitely want to make sure you keep X amount of money for your closing. I typically try to negotiate closing costs for first-time buyers. So it's really only your down payment that you're really putting out there that you have to put down. Any type of home warranties or something like that, I'll try to negotiate if there's things that need to be fixed with the property. So we'll kind of get all those things before you close. And then typically what we'll do is a final walkthrough that looks different now via COVID. And even the closing process looks different now, given COVID. You're not sitting in front of the seller anymore when you're signing your final documents. You're probably going in the seller will go in before you sign all his documents, and you'll go in last because it's your financing that closes the deal and get the deal done and move the deal on. And then that's kind of when you'll get your keys, is through the final walkthrough. Your lender will tell you what to bring at that point in time, but it's typically some type of certified funding. Insurance is kind of added into your closing already, and that will kind of be sent over to the closer. So they'll have the evidence of your insurance, but you definitely want to bring a valid ID on that day, because they need to verify who you are in order for it to be legal. At that time, you're going to get a settlement statement. The settlement statement is going to be just kind of the debits and credits of the process. Who got credited this, who debited that. Anything debited on your side as a buyer, it's going to be what you owe. And they're going to tell you all those different things. You'll get a title, a clear title at that point. And then keys to the new home, you're typically going to get at that point too. And the last thing is really protect your investment, maintain your property through routine maintenance job, making sure all the systems are working. And the age of your home really determines a lot of these things. Homes that are built before 1970, 1960s, in the 50s, they're going to have different levels of maintenance, different systems, different piping. So you definitely want to try to just be aware of that when you're buying a home. It's like, look at the era of the home and understand what the system is containing. And these will be things that Reuben was saying with the sewer system. An older home, probably you want to have that done because you don't want this unexpected bill to kind of slap you in the face at some point in time. Keep your eye on things while you're in there, such as leaks, other wear and tear, small problems. You fix them in the beginning, it'll save you money in the end. Keeping receipts for your repairs. I think they're always good when you're able to move on to the house and show a new buyer, if you get to that point, a new buyer that, or even you as the buyer and a seller has all kinds of receipts of repairs that they made, it'll make me feel good. And a home warranty. Typically, if there's things that look suspect in a home, I'm gonna try to argue to get you a home warranty included. Not that you pay for it, someone else, but a home warranty isn't a bad thing to do. Home Service Plus is a great one. If you're just, once you buy your home, you just want to protect your system and things of that nature. Those are the type of things I think I would be suggesting that you would do, things that I would be negotiating for you in your process. And so any questions or ahas, we'll take those. If not, then Andrew will give you some inspiring words.
Yeah, just raise your virtual hand or actually just put it right in the chat. Go ahead and just type your questions right in the chat. And actually, while we're waiting for everyone else, I did actually have a question for both Reuben and Tommy, based on an experience that I had regarding those sewer lines. That was a great point that you made, because I actually got hit with an issue with the sewer line where I had purchased a property with my mother. We were remodeling it. And within the years that we had that property, they changed the laws on that. And so when you went to sell the property, they did a sewer line inspection, and you had to actually repair the sewers if the sewer line, if there's any damage to it. And that's what happened. And so it was extremely expensive. So my question is, do you guys know a couple cities? That was West St. Paul. So do you know other cities that may require that you could tell us about?
I would say I don't. I'd see if Reuben would be able to answer that better than me.
Yeah. Well, I know one off the top of my head is Golden Valley. And as I mentioned, I've got 10 million pages on my website. I know one of them has a list. I'm looking at it now of all the cities that require truth in housing or pre-sale inspection requirements. So I'm flipping through it right now, my friend. And we've got West St. Paul, we got Golden Valley, and that's it. That's all I see on my list.
Okay, and I was expecting to see more. From what I understand, the reasoning was that the water treatment plants are actually treating more water than we use, because these sewer lines are actually breaking up and they're releasing in more water from the environment when it rains. So their solution is to have the homeowners fix these sewer lines as opposed to trying to build more water treatment plants. So I think that, so I'm bringing that up because I do think that we will see more cities starting to do that. So just keep that in mind, everyone.
Well put, Andrew. You hit the nail on the head.
Yep, thank you. And then we do have a question here from David on, can you explain what a contingency is in the buying process and how that works?
Okay, well, contingencies are depending on, well, there's a couple of ways you can be contingent. You can be contingent on selling a home or not selling a home to buy a home. So if you're coming from an apartment to purchasing a home, then you're going in non-contingent. That's one aspect of a contingency. A contingency on a inspection is truly what everybody, I would advise you, if you didn't want a contingency on the inspection, which probably would make you look better to a seller that just really want to get rid of a house, and they will do it. I would just have to legally cover myself, send you something saying we discussed this and I'm advising you against this, but you can do it. But you definitely want a contingency on an inspection because you don't know what's going to come up in the inspection. It could be a great house, but it could be some things that's wrong with it. But the inspection at least brings you to a point where if things don't look right, you can get out of the contract. You can cancel the contract right there. That's why the inspection period is probably one of the most important periods of the contract, because once the inspection is over, that contract is a contract. It's moving forward right now. So you definitely want that contingency. And then also a contingency on the appraisal of the home, because some people feel because they put a bathroom in, they put a deck on, they want $40,000 or $50,000 more just because they did these things, but it may not appraise to that. Some homeowners really get stuck into what they've done and they want to maybe move prices up a little higher, but if the appraisal don't come back to that, then this is where the contingency helps you. Now, here where you may be able to negotiate the price again is through that if the appraisal isn't there. Now, the seller can still say, hey, I don't want to budge on it. You can say, well, you know what, it doesn't appraise. My lender's not going to give any money. So you probably could, because it has the contingency on the financing too through the appraisal. Now, if you truly want this house, it's now for you to come out your own pocket to make that difference. So those are the 3 levels of the contingency that I know about this home buying process.
Reuben, did you want to add anything to that? Kind of saw you raise your hand there.
Yeah, my what I've heard people frequently say is the contingency on the inspection is your get out of jail free card.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You can just leave a contract right there based on the contingency of an inspection, because you now have cold feet. I don't want to do it. I seen another house, got a better deck, it got a better garage. I want to go buy this. It was some things in there, and there could be things in the inspection that could warrant that. But this is where people typically get out of the contract right there. That's why those first 10 days, some people will go it faster because they want to just get the things doing. They may go 7 days. But for the majority, it is 10 days. It's 10 days. I used to say 7 to 10 because I've seen people do it before just because they want to speed the process up. So they lock in the contract. That's why they'll do a shorter inspection period. So it'll lock them into the contract, because once you sign it, that's the binding agreement. You have to now get somebody in there to do this inspection. As a buyer, you want your 10 days. You want your 10 days.
Tommy, I want to move to another question here real quick from Richard, which is just, I know you had covered it in a slide. How much should a home buyer save for an inspection cost? So if you just want to touch on that, maybe just give a little range. You or Reuben.
Yeah, I mean, it ranges. It ranges based on experience, and then I'll let Reuben touch in on this. But I mean, anywhere, to be honest, it could be $400 to maybe $700, $800, and it depends on what you're adding on. If you're adding on some of the services that Reuben was talking about, the sewer, the chimney, the air inspection, I can't, it's off my mind. Reuben, I'll let you take over from there. Just go ahead.
Yeah.
The air inspection.
You know, on the really low end, smaller home, newer home inspector without a lot of experience, you know, some of the lower prices you'll find here in the Twin Cities, maybe around $350. Now, my company, we do charge quite a bit more than that for your basic home. You know, they start closer to $450 at my company, and the price goes up with the size and age of the home. And typically those additional services Tommy listed, sewer, radon, stucco, all that stuff, each one of those is going to typically be about $200 extra. So, I mean, it's not unusual to save $1,000 plus for all the home inspection services.
Mm-hmm. But I think one of the beauties to what you're talking about, Reuben, you're kind of a one-stop shop. Most folks only do the inspection. They don't don't do all the additional fireplace, sewers. You have to now go contract with someone else. So to have someone such as Reuben and his company, you're probably in better hands by staying with one company that's able to do everything for you. And then your report will be more cohesive.
Your check's in the mail, Tommy. Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I wanted to talk about one more thing since we're talking about home inspection. I actually put out a YouTube video on this, but for me, the home inspection was actually a great way for me to plan the things I was gonna remodel on the house. So, Tommy, and I know you have a lot of experience with remodeling. I know Reuben a lot of experience with home inspection. So, what do you kind of tell sellers or buyers on that? Because I know for me, if I had done all the remodeling initially that I had planned on, I actually would have been in a rough financial spot. So what do you kind of say to clients about remodeling and using that in a home inspection report?
I look at, I want folks to look at the floor plan when you're talking remodeling. If the floor plan really have to let you know how you're going to remodel, if you're really looking at it like that. I'm just looking at it from a floor plan standpoint. But as far as the inspection, it's really where you're going to move stuff. But to me, it's still in the floor plan. I think that's really where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. If you buy a home, it may not look the best, but if the floor plan suggests that you can do different things, you can dress it up differently, it's probably going to be more valuable for you down the line if at that point, if I'm answering your question correctly.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're hitting more on the remodeling side, but
Yep.
I'm trying to tie in, I guess, the home inspection report, and here's why. Because I know with my home inspection report, the house was much older. Again, most people buying their first home, it's not going to be new construction, so there'll be things that they want to update in there. And there were things on that report that I hadn't planned on making any changes on. And so I had to think about, okay, I'll have to work on doing these things. For instance, painting the siding. That wasn't necessarily something that I had really thought about doing, but that was brought up in the report as something to do. So I plan on doing that later. Reuben, I don't know if you have anything on this question or topic that you want to share. I'll just give you a chance to talk.
Yeah, I think you're kind of asking about prioritizing. What do you do first, right? And my advice is always start with the outside. Anything that comes up on your home inspection report that's going to allow water to into your home and ruin things. Problem with the siding, problem with the windows, problem with the roof, water leaking in around the chimney. All these things are going to lead to major damage at your home. So always start with the outside envelope. And a close second, maybe even a tie, maybe even higher priority. A lot of the time with parents where you got kids living there, a lot of young kids, people are concerned about safety issues. Things like smoke alarms, CO alarms, electrical issues, sewer gas issues. Those make their way really high on the priority list, as well as problems with HVAC equipment, such as water heaters and furnaces. I think all of those things, I'd say, kind of trump anything else that has to do with making your house look pretty.
So
here's
my tie real quick to that. In that report, it'll have things that are high level. It'll be coded in red. And then those, as Reuben was saying, the priority. So I hear what you're saying now. So in those priority, like if there's electrical outlets that need to be replaced, those are the priority things. If there's smoke detectors, CO alarms, those are the things that are the priority things on that, on the list of things for you to do if you're talking about doing things in your home. Any leaks, any broken windows, there's going to be a priority. From the reports I've read, there's going to be a priority to some of the things that need to be done. And then these are the things you can go back to the seller to see if they will fix. As a realtor, I'm looking at.
Right. And I wanted to bring that up because again, I'm thinking all the time about, finances, right? So how am I going to budget for something like this? And for me, I borrowed some money to do remodeling that I had looked at and thought about ahead of time. But to Reuben's point, one of the things I remember right away that missing on the house that came up in the report was the gutters. They didn't have gutters. And so, the water intrusion, that is a huge thing, especially in Minnesota with the winter and snow. So definitely keep that in mind. I think we're going to have to wrap it up here, guys. We got about 4 minutes. So let's close the questions for now and move on. Tommy, I'll let you go ahead with what else you have there.
Well, this is all I have for you guys. If you need to reach out to me, I know my information was in there. I know you'll put my information there. You just have questions about this process, any part of this process. Just want to have some basic conversation. I'm open for that. That doesn't lock you into any contracts. I love talking. I do it, all my life. I've been doing it for years. It's my profession outside of just real estate. I'm social work, so I'm a very social person with conversation. So just trying to help people grow and help people build. If you just have some basic questions you want to reach out to me, I know my information will be in here for you. You can connect with me that way, and then I hope to see you out here, whether you use me or not. I hope you enjoy your home buying process, but just make sure you're dealing with someone that you can have a relationship with to get you through your process.
And one quick thing I'll throw in here, just because back to the rehabbing, if there are things that come up on that home inspection report that you may not be able to afford, there are lending products out there. So that may be where you go back and talk to your mortgage consultant and understand what products are out there that can maybe help you fund the remodeling, those important things like the gutters and things of that nature. So with that, let me switch back over and start sharing my slides here. So, what's next from here? What's next is that you will get an email that'll kind of give you some action steps that you can take. Because as I mentioned, in life, it's about the actions that you take. The actions that you took today to be here, that's a great step towards your future, because it's the decisions that you make that will determine your destination. And so, how do you make better decisions? By learning and knowledge. So with that, just remember to learn all that you can, believe in yourself, and take actions that allow you to grow. Thank you to all the attendees and also my support team. And I hope you all learned something today. Have a blessed day.